This is Long Shots, VSiN's premier golf betting podcast. Here's Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, and Kelly Bidlin.
Hey, it is Long Shots Golf Betting Podcast here on the VSiN Podcast Network. I'm Matt Brown. That is Wes Reynolds. That is Kelly Bidlin coming to you for a preview of the Wyndham Championship. Appreciate you guys being with us. If you're over on the VSiN side of things, we're here for a couple more weeks with you, but that's going to be it. Like we got 2 weeks left, something like that, over on the VSiN side of things. But
golf
guess
season
what?
winding down.
Available over on our very own YouTube channel. So head on over there, hit the subscribe button, and then go ahead and hit the little bell while you're there. And then every single time we do something, you'll get notified. And you can see we're going to have some stuff going on, some different little things here as the channel evolves. And of course, over on the audio side, appreciate you guys there as well. You can go ahead, subscribe, rate, review, help us out a little bit with that. So before we head over to the Wyndham Championship, let's take a look back here at last week, because I do think there is some stuff that's interesting to talk about here from the Rocket Classic, in which Thor finally gets across the finish line here. I don't know how many times he has been bet on this podcast, and to no avail. Xander Schauffele in second place, Davis Riley in third place, Rasmus Højgaard, the wrong Højgaard. Doesn't really matter. He didn't win anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But Rasmus Højgaard outright 4, and then a slew of guys 5, 8, all the way down until we get to T15. Some of those names, though, do include Hideki Matsuyama, Ryan Gerard, Patrick Cantlay, Chris Kirk, Ricky Fowler, Cameron Young. So some big names there, all in that T8 position with all of this. But, Kelly, I'll start with you. We were kind of wondering how this tournament might play out and not really knowing with the new course and the things, stuff like that. I got to admit, pretty entertaining for me. I thought it was a fun watch. I thought the log jam on Sunday was pretty fun. Maybe it was easier for me because I had nobody in contention. So without a sweat, it just allowed me to watch the golf and just enjoy the golf. And so, unfortunately, we won't be back at least anytime soon. Maybe they'll get back up there to Detroit with this new schedule they're going to have in a couple of years. But, all in all, enjoyable tournament for me.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I mean, I had Hideki, but he wasn't really ever in it, right? Like he needed another 64 on another one of those days. So, I'm kind of with you. I kind of just enjoyed the logjam final stretch run of that tournament of the tournament on Sunday. Good to see Thorbjornsen grab one. I don't know if there's major takeaways. I thought the course was it was kind of cool what they did. I think it played a little easier though than I was maybe expecting overall. I don't know, kind of like the old version though, just setting up to have that kind of jam of golfers at the end, right? It just kind of felt like another week of like, all right, who's going to go out there on the back nine and make some birdies and steal this thing? And that was Michael Thorbjornsen holding off some big name chargers, right? And guys kind of falling by the wayside, right? Hideki ends up finishing T5, but didn't really look like he was going to be there for a while. So, yeah, it was great by Thorbjornsen. I think some other just positive takeaways of, Xander Schauffele, right? That was big. It was big. We kind of joked last week because it's probably too easy. Why are we skipping over an even money top 20 on Xander Schauffele? That was too easy. He's Xander looking okay there. And I mean, look, Sungjae M continues to put together good finishes, right? Hideki, this is 4 weeks in a row now. Patrick Cantlay has been pretty consistently good. Ryan Gerard back to playing some good golf. So good to see. I think if you're looking to go forward and as we move forward through the playoffs here, some takeaways from that you can grab for sure.
Yeah, Wes, as we look, I mean, a lot of guys, shooting into the 60s, and look, it's worth $162,500. So who am I to complain? But another collapse by Michael Brennan on Sunday here. Another guy that continues to put himself in contention and not be able to put 4 rounds together. One of the only guys to shoot over par that had any sort of high finish. He goes 73 on Sunday after 65, 67, 64, follows all the way down to T15 in the tournament. So again, it's just, we often talk about win equity here on the podcast. And, you look at a guy like him and the only knock, I mean, man, if he was on LIV, this guy'd be like the number 1 player on LIV. He can put 3 rounds together, but dude can't put 4 rounds together like that. That's for sure. So Brennan, just another of those guys that just take it with a grain of salt, right? I mean, he's a tough dude to bet from an outright perspective. For whatever reason, gets to Sunday and just does not want to be able to close. But what'd you think of the final version there of the Rocket Classic?
Good tournament. Maybe not so much from a betting standpoint. My nearest pursuers ended up finishing back into the top 10, Ryan Gerard and Davis Thompson. But Michael Chorbjornsson, that makes it 2 weeks in a row now, a PGA Tour U graduate. Of course, it was Jackson Coyven at the 3M, and then it was Chorbjornsson, and I bet him fairly frequently. Obviously had a lot of pedigree coming out of Stanford, former U.S. junior amateur champion, and he finally put it together, or really put it together at the right time, I should say. Shot a 30 on the back nine to shoot a 63, 18 under. That wins by 2 strokes, so congrats if you had the 45-1 on Chorbjornsson. And I didn't, which kind of sums my golf year up a little bit. It's like I'm not timing guys at the right time and I, not sticking with them. And then all of a sudden I see that there were a lot of people that did have him out there. And it's like, that guy would have made my card almost any other week. And then I didn't play him. And then of course he goes on and wins. So I thought, it was an entertaining event. The course, I think, played a little bit more difficult. I don't think it quite reached the point where it's like, okay, 12 under is going to win this thing. So it was still very scoreable, and we're going to get to another scoreable event, of course, this week at the Wyndham. But Chorbjornsson was 69th in the FedEx Cup points, so it was one inside the top 70. And now he doesn't have to concern himself with that, as he is number 38. So he's at least getting to the second event, because it's 70 at the FedEx St. Jude, 50 at the BMW, and then, of course, the final 30 make Eastlake for the Tour Championship.
Yeah, there's some guys that we'll be looking at this week, certainly, that are on the bubble. If you start to look at where that bubble lies right now, Matt Meisner, Keegan Bradley, Andrew Putnam, Johnny Kiefer, Jason Day, Austin Smotherman, Steven Yeager, David Lipsky, and Tom Hoagie are the 71 to 79 right there. And then, listen, a win will jump anybody into all of this, but a high finish for some of these other guys, Davis Thompson, Jackson Suber, Denny McCarthy, Taylor Pendrith, Brooks Koepka, by the way, sitting at 86 right now, Tony Finau. There's definitely some guys, Kelly, in that, 70 to 90-ish range that, don't necessarily need a win, but certainly need a high finish in this thing if they want to continue playing this season.
Yeah, 100%. I don't really, someone's going to have to explain FedEx Cup scoring to me at some point. Like, how is Tony Finau even in the top 90? Like, what? He's 89th? How's Ben Cole's behind him, man? Like, Ben Cole's actually has quality finishes here recently. Like, what is going on? Yeah, there's a lot of guys that we're going to be talking about this week just on the outside looking in that need good finishes to jump in there. Keegan Bradley just 2 out, and then same thing, right? Just on the inside, keep it up so you don't slip out of this thing.
Yeah, it'll be fun. That's kind of one of the things. Actually, if you go to the Wyndham Classics tournament website, they actually brag about this. Like they're like, what makes the Wyndham Classic special? And they're like talking about, well,
cut week.
It determines who the last guys in, the last guys out are. Like, so that's kind of like one of the selling points here of this tournament on the website is like, hey guys, come and see who gets their heart broken. Come watch these guys get their heart broken and not make the FedEx 70 or something. But yeah, it was an interesting little sales pitch for it.
And then we get it's top 50. You lock up tour card for the next 2 years. Is that what it is, Wes? I feel like you know this off the top of your head.
Yeah, top 50, by the way, getting the signature events for next year, and 71 to 100 get full cards for next year. So even if you don't make the playoffs, if you're in the top 100, you still have your status. And then 101 to 125 get what is conditional status, because they are still doing that, at least for this year, they're still doing that FedEx Cup fall, where you have the fall events, of course, like the RSM Classic, like the event here in Vegas, the old Shriners Open, the Sanderson Farm. So you could still move up a little bit. The conditional guys are obviously guys that aren't guaranteed entry into all of these fields based on how they are. So, the goal is to make that BMW championship in 2 weeks there at Bellerive in St. Louis. And that locks you up for every signature event for next year. So a lot of positioning. By the way, the article up at vsin.com, I list all the guys that are kind of just inside the bubble and guys that are outside of it and what they need to do in terms of that is what will get them into the top 70, at least for the playoffs. So like you mentioned a name earlier, like Jason Day, who's 75th. He would need a 2-way tie for 12th to get into the top 70. And there's a lot of these guys, of course, that need to just win, period. Like, some guys just need a top 20 finish or a top 10 or a top 5. So that's something that I think could play out if you're maybe not for outright markets, because that's a little needle in a haystack, but I think for placement markets, if you're playing those top 20s, those top 30s, those top 40s, guys are going to know where they're going to stand coming into this week.
Yeah. Kelly, it was interesting when you have it up on the screen, but as I was looking at this, the names 50 to 70 are so many of them are just absolutely shocking. You're like, wait a minute. How in the holy hell? We hadn't talked about Daniel Berger doing anything in forever. And somehow he's like inside the top 70. And you look at some of these other names in here and you're like, Aldrich Potgieter is inside the top 7. Like what in the world is going on here? So yeah, it's just some of those names I think would really surprise some people that are currently, at least as we sit right now, inside that top 7.
Sung J M just had his first week where he gained on approach since March. Since March. What? Yeah, I don't get some of this stuff. Go for that top 50 though, man. That's big. That's big. Lock yourself up for those signature events, man. That's like almost as big as the top 70 here. If you could lock yourself inside there.
Yeah, I just was looking at this. I was looking at this last night as I was prepping for this, and I'm going, Corey Connors is 50. Like Corey Connors is 50. Like really 56th or whatever it is. I'm like, seriously? Like these are guys that, of course, we've bet in years past, but doesn't seem like they have had seasons of note at all.
Soonershan just banking those points early in the season, man. Him and Pearson.
That's what you do. Play every week. Play every week, and you're going to make cuts, and that's how these guys advance.
It's absolutely amazing. Again, that will come up here as we get ready to talk a little bit further with this. But when we come back, we will head over to Sedgefield over there in North Carolina and get our thoughts here on the Wyndham Championship. What does this course bring? What are the skills that matter? What does this odds boards look like? We got all of that and more long shots coming back at you.
This is Long Shots, VSiN's premier golf betting podcast. Here's Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, and Kelly Bidlin.
Welcome back to Long Shots Golf Betting Podcast here on the VSiN Podcast Network. Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, Kelly Bidlin. We transition to the final event of the season before the playoffs, the Wyndham Championship over at Sedgefield in Greensboro, North Carolina. Short course. We expect some scoring. Don't really know if the driver's going to matter all that much, but we will see what we think about that. But before we get into the stats that matter, Kelly, pop up that odds board and take a look here at what we're dealing with. And there was a couple of Wes, you just mentioned a withdrawal. Seems like Daniel Berger's not going to play. Of course, we get Patrick Cantlay withdraw from this thing as well. So your overwhelming favorite, Cam Young, the next closest price is nearly double that of Cam Young, and Jackson Koiven, Hideki Matsuyama, Ben Griffin, Justin Thomas, Ryan Gerard, Aaron Rye, as we kind of go down the list a little bit further with all that. But you guys were having a discussion when we were on break, and it's worth kind of bringing on right here that the couple of withdrawals really like massively affected the odds board.
Yeah, we were sitting here. We're sitting doing a numbers game yesterday, Monday morning, which Wes is always joins us for on Mondays. And Hideki mid-30s was jumping out to me. I can tell you that much. And Patrick Cantlay was still in the field then. And once he withdrew, all these numbers shifted around for a guy that we make fun of as much on here as we do in one Patrick Cantlay and always hate to bet him outright. It's just amazing that his withdrawal from the outright market could swing numbers so much when he doesn't win very often.
He doesn't win ever. I know it's crazy, but if we are talking about like class of the field and things like that and pedigree dudes and whatever,
isn't it hard to believe though that he's about to drop out of the top 40 in the official world golf rankings? He is 39th and he's been in the top 40 for about close to 9 years now. But when you don't win and you don't have the win equity, and I know that better than anybody, and you bet a guy and he doesn't win, you tend to drop in the rankings.
Father Time is undefeated, and I'm wondering if it's catching up with Patrick Cantlay a little bit earlier than a lot of other folks. Mid-30s now for him. I wonder if like his game just hasn't really caught up to some of these other guys' games and everything. I can tell you this: He's one of the most hateable players on tour. So, if he continues to slide down the world rankings, I don't really care. I'm glad. I will relish in him falling down the.
I didn't see it live, but I saw a couple people ripping him on Twitter for. Apparently, he chose to lay up on the back nine when he was playing with Cameron Young. Cameron Young goes for the green. Patrick Cantlay whips out an iron and lays up on like hole 14 or 15 or something like that when he was like in contention. You're just like, dude, this is why we rarely bet on this guy to win outright. Yeah. Like he was very comfortable collecting his top 10 cash.
Exactly. It's like here's the thing. You can have the most punchable face on tour like he does. Him and Patrick Reed right there together, like 1A, 1B type deal. You can have the most punchable face on tour, but you can be cool. And then like, it's not like people will hate you, but the problem is he has that stupid punchable face and he's unlikable. So it's just like,
and plays real slow.
And he's a slow player.
Right.
Yeah. It's like what was that in the Simpsons where Mr. Burns and Homer are playing golf and he goes, "Oh, quit cogitating, Steinmetz, and use an open face club, the sand wedge." And of course, Homer, open face club sandwich.
Who's Delta's is sponsored too, right? He even has like a boring like main sponsor. She's like big Delta. I don't know. Yes. Delta Airlines just feels boring to me.
Probably not for much longer after they listen to this podcast. This is what people think of him, by the way.
He'll be getting Spirit now.
Yeah. This is what people think of him, by the way. So yeah, just like, come on, Delta, get with it. Okay, Wes. So Wes, by the way, again, guys, if you have not gone over to VSiN.com, head on over there. We got a bunch of stuff going on. By the way, college football guide just dropped. So we're in football season officially. And so head on over there. This is a little bit off the beaten path here from the golf stuff, but I will say this, and Kelly, you and I have said this on air multiple different times. The college football betting guide is the best thing that we do at VSiN, because it's just with the transfer portal now and everything that's going on and all that stuff, like you have no idea where these dudes are ending up. You don't know the depth charts anymore. Hell, you don't even know what conference some of these teams play in. And so to get it all in one spot, just take a weekend, get through it, do whatever you got to do and all that. But like, it actually really is the best thing we do over there.
Oh, yeah. Watch out for Pac-10 power of Texas State.
Yes.
Watch out.
College football, by the way, college football is a lot more fun when you're not coming off a 3-8 season like usually my alma mater is and you're defending national champions. So now I join you guys of being alums of a program that have won national championships. LSU for Matt, of course, Kelly, but Florida State.
Yeah, obviously, congratulations, Wes. I don't really know how much I like how much Indiana and Florida State have seemingly flipped roles in all of like 2 years. Just buried at the bottom of the odds board now is Florida State.
Gives hope to everybody, though. If Indiana can do it, you can do it.
There it is. All you need is just get you a multi-billionaire like Mark Cuban who's willing to, just find you one. That's all you
and a few others.
Yeah, just find you a multi-billionaire. Anyway, over at VSiN.com, Wes writes one of the best previews there is out there. So Wes, give us the skinny here over on Sedgefield. And of course, guys, if you want the full preview, VSiN.com for that.
Sedgefield Country Club in Greensboro, North Carolina, has hosted the Wyndham since 2008. Donald Ross design. It is the Ross course because there are two courses here at Sedgefield. Chris Spence did the renovation in 2007. Par 70, 71, 31, kind of your typical North Carolina course. A lot of tree-lined fairways, pine straw, Bermuda grass throughout. It is a par 70, of course, so you only have the two par 5s. 9 of the par 4s, by the way, 9 of the 12 on this layout are less than 450 yards. So like you said, and you alluded to earlier in the intro, Matt, driver doesn't really matter all that much. It's more matters of hitting fairways, which are kind of narrowish on average, but the rough at 2.5 inches, even though it's Bermuda and kind of tricky, you don't really find a lot of trouble off the tee here. There are 5 water hazards, only 52 bunkers, not very many bunkers. Like we saw a ton of them last week at Detroit, where they added more bunkers in the restoration. But there are fairway bunkers here, so they are tough to get the greens if you do hit the fairway bunkers. Champion Bermuda greens, 6,000 square feet. They're pretty fast though, 12.5 to 13. And we've been on bent grass and bent and POA combination a lot the last couple weeks. Now we're on the Bermuda. It is a scoreable course. Brent Snedeker, 2-time winner here, shot 59 when he won the 2018 Wyndham. So a little bit shorter on the front nine. It's 34.27 for the out and 37.04 for the in. So the back nine is longer. But yeah, I think if you're looking at correlations of like who succeeds here that succeeded elsewhere. Waialae, of course, the short par 70, Colonial, River Highlands, Detroit a little bit. That is a Donald Ross design like we saw last week. The Sea Island course where they play the RSM, TPC Sawgrass, Harbor Town, a lot of those shorter par 70s, par 71s, plus the designer link with Donald Ross, I think are what you're going to want to look at in terms of guys that should play very well here if you go that angle.
Yeah, Kelly, I mean, you really look at this, and not to say that this is a boring course by any stretch of the imagination. It's not, but I do think that we have a very, very obvious skill profile for what is going to work at this thing. And despite the fact that we do have Cam Young right there, as you pull up, recent winners, Cam Young is literally one of the handful of players on tour that is also very long, but also accurate. There's not very many of the guys that are super long that are also accurate. And so you just go a little bit further down and you see the rise in the Glovers or Gover, either one, whoever won that in 2023. It's his cousin or something, like whatever. And Tom Kim, Kevin Kisner, and all
Poston,
these guys.
Henrik Stenson, all really good iron players and good ball strikers.
Yeah. So it seems like there's a very clear player profile here for what we're looking for.
Yeah, go Gover. I'll be rooting for you this week. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where it starts, right? It is.
I didn't see him on the odds board, the Lucas Gover guy. I didn't see Gover. Maybe I got
you gotta watch out for him. God, thank God we got graphics in here. Yeah, thank God. What would we have done without it? Yeah, it's look, I think after last week, I think this is a little bit, I don't know about you fellas, but I went into handicapping this event with a little bit more of a brighter spirit, just knowing that this is a course we're familiar with. We know the type of player profile that kind of wins here, right, Matt? And guess what? It will also be back next year. So we know any work we do is not wasted on it. So it was nice to pull up some old notes, just make some small tweaks. Actually, very refreshing after last week, because I felt like and actually this feels like this every year, I feel like I tweak my model less for this event than like any other one that we get to on the PGA Tour calendar. So yeah, be accurate. That matters a lot. It's a lot harder to find these greens with that Bermuda rough. We always talk about that Bermuda rough, getting around the ball and being a little tougher to hit out of, those flyers that you can get. So be accurate, get on the greens, and make some putts, man. We usually see putting come into play here pretty heavily.
As we say each and every week, we will let you know what's in our models. We are not coders ourselves. Lean on the hard work of other people out there. Shout out to the Data Golfs and Rick Rungoods and the BetSperts and stuff of the world who've gone in and given us the ability to make our own models. We do put in the stats that we think that matter. We do weight them accordingly to how we want them to. The time frames and all of that is all chosen by us. But the model itself and how it spits out all the stuff is, again, on the hard work of others. So appreciate those guys. When we come back, we'll get to those stats that matter, how we did weight them, and ultimately, what did that do to our betting card? It is Long Shots here on VSiN.
This is Long Shots, VSiN's premier golf betting podcast. Here's Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, and Kelly Bidlin.
Welcome back to Long Shots. Matt, Wes, and Kelly sitting here talking about the Wyndham Championship. Just talked about the course itself, and now let's get into the models, the skills that we think are going to matter. And Wes, we kind of gave it away at least a little bit here. Not emphasizing the driver this week at all.
No, not at all. And before we get into that, I do want to add one thing that Kelly said at the end of the last segment. We were kind of up against it in terms of not necessarily changing your model based on results. Because I think I've actually hit this tournament 2 of the last 4, both even numbered years, ironically enough. So maybe this will continue with Tom Kim in 22 and then Aaron Ryan 24. And then I hit it and it's like I kind of nailed it. And then I changed a bunch of stuff last year where it was like, oh, I want to fine tune it. And I added like all the proximity stuff. And that didn't do any good.
Yeah.
I think most of my guys missed the cut last year. So there's something to be said, even if you don't get results. Don't overchange, especially when there haven't been a lot of changes to the course. So what I pretty much did is what had worked for me in the past, where you start with approach. 2 of the last 3 Wyndham winners, by the way, Rye and Lucas Glover, led the field in approach during their winning weeks. I think it was 13 of the last 8 of the top 18, I should say, rather, finishers here last year gained over 2 strokes on approach for the tournament. There's some variance there, but approach is a great place to start here because the greens are relatively not huge, a little bit above average, 6,000 square feet. So it's not like they're hard to hit, but you want to put them on the right place because these greens are pretty speedy. So, you don't want to risk getting in the 3-putt territory, which I did also include. You do have some blind tee shots and some of the fairways on the narrow side. So it's a little bit more important to hit the fairway. So there's any number of ways you could do that. Driving accuracy, good drives gained. I used hit fairway percentage actually with this, and I hit these couple when we had Rise, so I went back to it. Hit fairway, good drive percentage, I think is another one to look at. And then from a scoring stat standpoint, I mentioned about the par 4s, that 9 of the 12 par 4s are 400 to 450. So strokes gained par 4, 400 to 450. That won't be a huge thing in your model because you don't necessarily gain that many strokes because you don't have that many holes. So the numbers are pretty small, but it's a good context or maybe a good tiebreaker on some things. And then I did do a little bit of putting this week on Bermuda because they've been on Bent and they've been on, Fescue and POA. They hadn't been on Bent a lot lately, but now they're getting to that as they go to these tournaments in the South. So you've got these greens with sharp ridges that run a little faster, 12.5, 13 on the stem. So this could be tricky. So putting, I think, maybe a little bit more important this week. And plus the Donald Ross designs, as we talked about last week, usually slope from back to front. So they're elevated and they slope, a lot of runoffs here. So you can get 3 putts and bogeys. So 3-putt percentage or 3-putt avoidance. Bogey avoidance, I think, is something that's important because you are going to probably have to score 20 under par to win here. If you look at the last couple of years, Cameron Young, 22 under, Aaron Rye, 18 under, Lucas Glover, 20 under, Tom Kim, 20 under. So most of the time, 20 under is at least going to get you in position to win, if not win. So I thought the scoring stats, bogey avoidance, birdie or better, was something you certainly wanted to look at. But this isn't something, like I was saying at the top, you don't want to get too knee deep in the weeds. So I didn't go in the proximity because there's some variance here. Like 100 to 175 is wide range. So if you want to narrow it, maybe 125 to 150, basically your wedges. Basically, you got to be very good with your wedges here because you can drive it here. You can pull driver. You could use 3-wood. You can use long irons off the tee or hybrids, what have you. You're probably going to have wedges into the green. So I thought maybe the proximity was a little redundant, and I definitely made that mistake last year, including it.
Kelly, if you'd like to join Sedgefields, this is the bonus of being in such a fertile golf area. Rumored the initiation fee is somewhere between 25 and 50, and the monthly dues between like 600 and 800. So
okay.
Not like some of these other courses that these other private courses that we get to on tour, like if you could, if you could get on the lower end of that and like get on the lower, I mean, like that's not the craziest thing in the world. You could be a member of Sedgefield.
It's getting close to affordable. Yeah, it's getting close to affordable. I like it. All right.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Like a lot closer than most of these.
Affordability is a big thing now, from what I hear.
I mean, listen, let's a lot closer than a lot of these country clubs that we talk about. That is for sure. Some of these things are
the same thing as
ridiculous. But Kelly, but yeah, I mean, look, same deal for me, right? I mean, look, I did pull just basic off the tee as opposed to anything else, just because again, off the tee does take in all the other stuff. If the guys are hitting mini driver or 3-wood or irons or whatever off the tee and all that, but like basically all the stuff that Wes said. Only thing I never do proximity. So I just did opportunities, and I didn't even do opportunities gained. I just did raw opportunities. So I like Kelly, how many times do these guys have 15 footers or in for birdie, right? Like I didn't even do it gained to the field. I just want to know who are the dudes that are sticking it relatively close and are getting opportunities to make some putts. And so that was it for me. Anything different for you?
You know what? I'll go through mine just because I think it's worth pointing out. Look, I think I only do this with courses I feel like I'm more confidently familiar with, and this would be one of them where I kind of double up some of these things. So like Wes talked it through off the tee, I'm factoring in, it's about split fairway accuracy and good drives for me on that. And then approach heavy, we talked about that. And then I did par 4 scoring. I also did par 4s 400 to 450, just smaller on that. Wanted to take par 4s scoring in total a little bit greater. Opportunities gained and birdie or better. You did that as well. And then bogey avoidance and scrambling a little bit for me. And then I did regular strokes gained putting and then did a little bit of strokes gained putting Bermuda as well. Wes just kind of dragged that further out time-wise. And then 3 putt avoidance, I think, is pretty big here. This course also gives me an opportunity to bring up one thing that you have heard. If you've listened to this podcast, you heard us say a lot this year. And shout out to Ron Claus for writing this up because he put perfect numbers on it. Sedgefield has ranked inside the top 10 most difficult courses to gain around the green each of the past 5 seasons. So we've brought this up many times. Perfect example. Top 10 hardest course around the green on the PGA Tour. It's not going to matter that much for your statistical modeling, because if you are playing that much around the green, you are not winning this tournament. You are not going to be top 5 in this tournament. So thought that was a great note by him that yes, it might be tough here. I don't think you don't want to obsess with digging into a bunch of around the green and scrambling stats and stuff like that this week.
You're going to hit the greens here probably about close to 75% of the time because these are bigger greens. It's just the guys that obviously win here, they're all hitting the greens, but it's getting it close. And that's why the approach numbers, I think, are so darn important this week.
Yeah, as we get into our cards here, I'll just start off. I mean, none of us are on, Cam Young. I don't even get why he's playing. I mean, I know he won it last year, and I guess it's just you have to go and try to defend.
Because he's a Wake Forest guy, maybe he feels obligated to play. I don't even know why he's there. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if this is like a miniature punt off for him, but you just do the obligation of showing up and whatever. But yeah, I have no idea why he's here. That makes no sense to me, at all. We all actually right off the bat, and I can't do the little noise because apparently I learned that our podcast software actually blurs out the noise. It just comes in as nothing. But can I do a human?
Yeah, we do. And I could have called this. We're all on Tom Kim. I knew that. I knew that. I knew we were all going to be on Tom Kim, and so all 3 of us sitting here on Tom Kim, we run our own individual models. But again, I think a lot of times we are similar in the thought of what a player looks like that might succeed here. So my guess is, like y'all, Tom Kim's probably no lower than 3rd or 4th in any version of any model that you ran for all of this. And then when that's the case and you're still getting a number that has a 3 in front of it, almost an autoplay for me. So, don't want to put word in y'all's mouth, but Kelly, I assume kind of the same thing on your end.
Yep. Number 1 rated golfer for me last 16 rounds was number 1 on approach, 15th in fairways gained, 6th in good drives. The putter sucks, but we'll hope and pray for a good putting week from him. We have seen it here a couple times recently. 2nd in par 4 scoring, 4th in bogey avoidance, checks all the boxes. Win at the Scottish Open just a few weeks ago, has a win here just 4 years ago. Wes was on him 4 years
2022,
ago.
2022. Yeah, where he actually, by the way, led the field in putting that year, ironically enough. And you mentioned his putter has been a little difficult, but 3 of the last 6, he's had his best putting performances of the season. And, 5th on tour and approach, 5th from, even though I didn't use proximity, I did look at it, at least for research context, 5th from 125 to 150. So he's been very sharp with the wedge game. So Tom Kim, I thought, made a lot of sense. And I think he has the confidence now that he broke that streak where he didn't win for almost 3 years. He's got real confidence now, and I think that that's a good thing. And, looking to win this week, and I think he's got a very good shot to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I think, too, when we look at us, and I'm sitting here saying something that's going to be completely against what Kelly has done, but he's like your prototypical outright bet. Me personally, I'm not a placement market guy on Tom Kim. I would never be a head-to-head guy on Tom Kim because it's you basically need one of the spike weeks for him to finish high. And so for me, you just kind of look. I mean, when he gained 4 strokes putting, he was 3rd at the U.S. Open. When he gained three and a half strokes putting, he won the Scottish Open, right? I mean, it's just so that's, for me, I not how I really go about it, but I love this guy from an outright perspective. We still have plenty more outrights to talk about here, some placement market stuff as well. Do not go anywhere. It is Long Shots here on BC.
This is Long Shots, VSiN's premier golf betting podcast. Here's Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, and Kelly Bidlin.
Welcome back to Long Shots. We have Tom Kim in the account for all three of us, so we're all liking that. And Wes, you and Kelly both share Hideki Matsuyama.
We do. The number, of course, got cut with the Cantlay withdrawal, so you're probably getting him in the low 20s now instead of the 30-something on open. Two straight top fives here. T5 last week in Detroit, where he was number 1 tee to green, number 2 in approach, third the week prior at the 3M in Minneapolis. Even though you have the no cuts and signature events, he's 19 for 19 and has made 34 in a row dating back to May 2025. It's been the driver. We talked about the putter with Tom Kim. It's been a little bit of the driver with Hideki, but he's gained off the tee in each of his last 4. Sedgefield's not really a place that's going to give you a ton of trouble necessarily off the tee, so you can spray it a little bit and get away with it. But just looking at the form, the top fives, and then plus was 14th at the Open, was 14th at the Travelers. So he's been starting to play consistent golf. Of course, remember he was a runner-up there in Phoenix. So still looking for that win here in 2026. I think that this is a good place for him to get it. He's another guy that I don't think necessarily needs to be here this week because he's pretty secure in the FedEx Cup playoffs, but certainly likes this course and has had some decent results here. Has had some miscuts in between, but third here in 2016, 11th here, 19th here last year. So he's got some very good finishes here. So he's a little bit kind of like what you said about Tom Kim, Matt, a little bit boom or bust, but I think he's going boom this week.
Kelly, yeah, I mean, you love you some Hideki more than anybody. I don't know if they're like Hideki is your new Keegan.
It's been about 3 weeks. Yeah. Past what, 3 or 4 tournaments. I've been all over Matsuyama. So yeah, apparently I'm that guy now. It's, guys, I don't know if have you ever seen tournament history like this? I mean, this is every time he's teed it up at this event, he has finished top 20 or missed the cut every single time. I don't know if I've ever seen that with this many tournaments played, by someone. So yeah, Decky, you covered basically all of it, Wes, but yeah, it's been strong off the tee. You'd actually look for a little bit more consistent approach numbers from Hideki Matsuyama. That's what I would think. I think there's still a ceiling to be raised with that by him, but man, it has been really, really quality stuff from him the past 4 tournaments. And yeah, I think he gets it going. Maybe not the perfect course for Hideki Matsuyama's game, but man, the form he rolls into this with, watch out, man. I'm really liking Hideki this week.
All right, we're going to go a little bit more rapid fire here as we try to get through all these picks over the next 7.5 minutes. But Wes, Ryan Gerard next on your card.
Yeah, I had him last week, T8 in Detroit. He's in all the FedEx Cup playoff events. He's 16 in the standings. 3 runners-up this year. Sony, which is at Wiley, strong correlation to Sedgefield, short par 70, the American Express, and then the Memorial. Gets a home game this week, too, by the way. Closest thing to a home game, of course. Grew up in Raleigh. Played his college golf at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Now he's in Greensboro, so he's got all the ACC triangle covered this week in the state of North Carolina. Obviously, great approach numbers. The ball striking has been great. And he's also motivated, not only to get that victory, but also to make the President's Cup team. And he's kind of one of those ones because you've only got maybe 6 or 7 sure spots. And then there's a bunch that are wide open. We mentioned about Jackson Coyven. Might he have played his way on despite being so young and inexperienced? Ryan Gerard, certainly a guy looking for that spot as well.
Davis Thompson, you and I both on him last week. I am off this week. You are back on.
Yeah, comes into this week, 2 top 10 finishes. He's been progressively better at the Wyndham, 22nd, 12th, and 11th the last 3 years. Runner-up at Detroit 2 years ago, so he's shown well on Donald Ross Designs, former John Deere winner. There's a little bit of correlation between those guys that play well at Deere Run and play well here at Sedgefield. So back aboard on Davis Thompson.
You are on Ben Coles. Kelly and I both on Ben Coles as well, but just in the placement markets. I also, like Kelly Bidlin, have a top 20 on Ben Coles, but you're going to go ahead and play him in the outright market. And
I will have the placement market with you guys as well. And we had the heartbreak, Matt, with him at the John Deere, where he was going to be the clear winner, and then he hit that approach into 18. And ended up finishing third, but we're back again. Winner this summer on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's likely going to get his PGA Tour card anyway, so that takes a little bit of pressure, but he is 95th in the points, so he can just go ahead and, have a good showing here, be in the top 100 and get his card that way. So I think it's all about the win here, not necessarily the points. Unfinished business here, I think, to get that first victory. Wyndham's a good site for him. Maybe if you like walking down Narrative Street and those storylines, and of course I do. First PGA Tour start he ever made in his career was right here at Sedgefield in 2012. So that's one of those kind of weird, funky stories that kind of seem to come true in golf, maybe more often than not. So Ben Coles, mid 50 to 60 to 1, I've seen is high in the market. And then plus, I think the top 20, very good bet. Model's very high in the approach and all the recent stats that you will see, even though it's only recent results because he's been playing mostly Corn Ferry from early.
Yeah, you look right there. Kelly's got it popped up on the screen. I mean, look, those approach numbers, Kelly. I mean, outside of the one, which by the way, he was still able to make up for because he putted like God in that one. I mean, like the guy's playing very consistent. And like, so for me, he is one of the dudes I have a ton of confidence in playing a placement market, especially in this field.
Agreed. This is, some Corn Ferry sprinkled in, obviously, but has gained on approach in every event he's teed it up in, except for one since April, and has gained with the putter in 5 straight.
Kelly, you have Hideki, as does Wes. We all have Tom Kim. You have one longer shot, and I'll admit, this guy incredibly high in my model as well. I couldn't pull the trigger, but maybe you can convince me. I was shocked as to how high this dude was.
I was shocked too, Matt. I don't even really know if I can fully explain it because the results don't exactly match where he's landing.
I don't get it either. That's why I didn't put him in the account. I know.
But Emiliano Grillo, when we do think about the prototypical golfer that we're looking at here, well, at least he made sense to me, Matt. So he made sense to me from that standpoint. An accurate off the tee guy, good, really good approach player. Okay, might struggle with the putter sometimes, but if that could heat up, last 16 rounds, he was a top 5 rated golfer for me. He's 9th on approach over that time, 3rd with putting, 4th in par 5 scoring. He's gained massive on approach in the last 2 tournaments, so I think that is skewing things a little bit. But the finishes really aren't there. So I took a bomb price on 80 to 1 outright, but I bet him heavier at the top 20 market at plus 275 there. Yeah.
6th, 3rd, 6th, and 5th. In the 3 different models I read, 3rd, 6th, and 5th. So
former winner at Colonial as well. Yeah, so he's won on these shorty type courses, always plays well at the Sony in Hawaii. So he is a very good fit here.
All 3 of us are on Blades Brown. I am on an outright. Wes is on an outright. Kelly Bidlin is on a top 20. I'm also on a top 20, more heavily on the top 20 than I am here on the outright for him. But I just didn't want to get left out if he was able to finally get across the finish line. In my 20-round model, the number one player in the 20-round model is Blades Brown. Wes, I mean, we talk about often like kind of just green stuff. I mean, if you want to look at even the stuff that we didn't care all that much about, total driving 5th in this field. I mean, birdie or better gain, he's 1st overall in this field. Opportunities 4th in this field. All of it just keeps going on and on and on, especially if you shrink the sample size down to what he's done over the last month or so.
And aside from the numbers that you weighed at there, Matt, and looking at the recent form, 4 top 6s on the Corn Ferry, 3rd at the Puerto Rico Open on the PGA Tour earlier this spring. So he's got good form. He's also got pedigree, and maybe this is a little bit of FOMO for me, in addition to the case you made in terms of the stats. Koivu wins 2 weeks ago. Thorbjornsen wins last week. So young players are showing that they're capable of winning on this tour, and he's got the obvious form. Remember, at 16, youngest medalist in the history of stroke play at the U.S. Amateur, breaking the record of the legendary Bobby Jones. So this guy bypassed college to turn pro, and maybe he's going to bypass getting his card from the Corn Ferry points list where he's 9th and just go ahead and win and get the automatic promotion to the PGA Tour. So Blades Brown at 66 to 1, I thought was a very good price.
Another guy that modeled out extremely well for me that really just kind of rocketed up. And once you dig in, there's just a ton to like. I bet Alex Fitzpatrick to win this thing. I think he's going to win on the PGA Tour, like especially on a course like this. He's incredibly accurate. He's putting the ball close to the pins and giving himself chances to make birdies. And like you just kind of look, and there's not a lot to dislike about him either. I really, really like the profile here for Fitzpatrick. I mean, look at those iron numbers. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal with him. And outside of the little pink, it's not even red there from the driver. The driver has been there as part of his game as well. So again, you're getting a guy in the 40s that I think is probably one of the, if we're talking about just course fit and what we like in this course, I think he's probably mispriced because I think he's probably fits this course better than a lot of the guys that are going to be teeing it up this week. So Alex Fitzpatrick, for me. Wes does have a couple of others, Rio Satsune and Ben James. You can get the full write-up on those picks over at VSiN.com. If you are a VSiN Pro subscriber, you can go to that picks page. You can go get Wes's article, and you can see the breakdown of everything. But we're all riding with Tom Kim from an outright perspective. We're all riding with Ben Coles. We're all riding with Blades Brown. We got all kinds of love here for the same guys this week. So maybe we can get across the finish line here of what has been a little bit of a frustrating golf season. If you haven't done so already, guys, hit that subscribe button, rate, review, do all the different things like that. And of course, over on the YouTube, hit that bell for all notifications. For Wes, Kelly, I'm Matt. Good luck.